All right, everyone, welcome back once again to this Beefcast presentation. I'm your casting host of Beef. Joining me, Muatorn of Muatorn TV. Brandon, you excited for Game 2 of this series?
I am indeed excited for game number 2. Game number 1 was good. Definitely saw some interesting play. I didn't really expect it to end the way it did from the beginning, but you know what? Crazy shit happens.
I think I'm with you right there. That was definitely a little bit of an interesting game. A good comeback from one of these players. He does happen to be the red Zerg in the top right-hand corner playing for FXO. He's Lowely.
Yeah, and his opponent, once again, going to be EG.ThorZaIN.RC. Raid call. I just
Later
can't
call.
get over that. Later call.
Later call.
Lady call. Anyway. Actually, there's an extractor trick here from Lowely.
Yeah.
That's different.
Yeah. It's one of those things that some players just continually do it. I remember listening to NASL just last night talking, not to Greetorp, but listening to Greetorp talk. And he was saying that when Sen was with him, that Sen extractor tricked every game. And Greetorp explained, that it's a 4 mineral net loss. And that it doesn't get you ahead. And Sen just said, whatever, I do it because I want to. And we'll play 100 games and I'll beat you every time by going extractor trick.
And he will.
And he will, because
Yep.
it's not a huge deal. It's 4 minerals. It's like a minimal amount of time of lost mining time. And it's just what players are used to, so not a big deal.
For sure. Hatch first here from Lowely, I believe. Yeah, Hatch first, definitely. And we see gas taken right after the barracks here. Do you think this is going to be some kind of one play or one base, or is it just for faster factory?
It depends if he's going to be dropping down any kind of early add-ons. If we don't see any add-ons at 50 gas, then it's probably early reactor. I'm thinking at this point that it's going to be a command center coming down here very soon, and then it's going to be a factory. So a very similar play to last time. But you could always be wrong. The nice thing
Certainly looks... Oh, sorry.
The nice thing for Lowely is that the drone did get in there. He was able to scout that full build. And being a pro player like he is, he's going to be able to draw the same conclusions that I did, that this is, in fact, going to be a 1 ranks expand into factory behind it. So it's going to be reactor Hellions behind this. And so Lowely's going to be able to play the same way that he did last game if he felt confident in the way that game did end up, and be able to take the game in the same direction.
Yeah, and spawning pool is finished here. He's got his first guess on the way in his main. The hatch and the natural is done now, and I think the Marine saw that. Yeah, it saw the creep, so he knows for sure there's a hatchery there and it's done. I don't believe Lowely actually saw the command center. No, he didn't see the command center, but like you said, I mean, he can just infer. It's pretty obvious what's going on. And we actually see another barracks started here, along with another factory and reactor, so definitely some Hellions going to be coming out here.
Okay, now this is a little bit odd. I kind of feel like this is going to be Marauder Hellion. Like, I've got this sneaking suspicion that it could be Marauder Hellion, but
I was kind of thinking that too when I saw the other barracks.
But he's already got this command center down, so we'll see. If he drops a tech lab on there and starts stim immediately, then there could be some very early Marauder pushes that could come with this. But with the second refinery that's added on right there, I don't know. It could be something like Banshee's going to be making their way over now, but who knows?
Well, he's started a tech lab. I think there's another reactor that's going to be made here. Yeah, so second reactor. What does this mean? I have no idea.
It's a little bit interesting of a build. With that second gas, we can expect a very early starport to be coming down here relatively soon. The tech lab does start stim there, and the command center going to be making its way out now to the natural, which is going to be observed by the overlord at the natural. And at home, Lowely going to be just calmly starting his own upgrades, getting that metabolic boost out for his Zerglings, and getting that creep spread start a little bit earlier with the spine crawler out at the beginning of the natural. Important to note that he is at 3 queens, whereas last game he did only use 2 queens, so still not quite so fond of the 4 or 6 queen builds that are so prevalent with a lot of the Zergs since the queen buffs. But getting that 3rd queen out is very nice to get that creep spread out nice and early and be able to thwart off any kind of Hellion aggression.
Yeah, we also saw a 6-minute lair. I think it's a little bit fast, isn't it?
That's definitely fast, but just like last game, Lowely is one of those Zergs that does like to get that nice early lair. He's comfortable staying on 2 base a little bit longer than other Zergs so that he can get that earlier tech out.
Yep. Some lings have been made here. Speed is almost okay. Now it is done. Some more drones on the way and 2 Evo chambers. So probably going into infestors just like last game. 1 gas has been added on the main. Just gonna see here. Yeah, he's already done the 2 in the natural. Okay, I understand. I was kind of questioning that. No gases in the natural yet for ThorZaIN, though he will probably start those soon. He's got double medevac production on the way. He's producing 1 Marauder and 2 Marines at a time, so not really that much. No tanks out yet, and still producing Hellions off just a naked factory.
Yeah, he's going to be going for a strong about 8.5 minute, 9 minute timing push here with these 2 Hellions, or excuse me, these 2 medevacs coming out. He's going to be able to get that Overlord down, and as Stim finishes up here, that's when he's going to be making his way up into the Zerg space. We did see the reactor come off of the factory, so going to be lower amount of Hellions, but with a couple of Marauders in this composition and a good number of Hellions, it's going to be relatively hard for the Zerg to deal with this composition. There's no roaches right now. The Baneling nest is not there, and Speedlings are going to get roasted by the amount of Hellions that are in this composition. I think ThorZaIN's going to have a very good attack here.
Yeah, but his opponent is still in 2 base and only 46 drones, so he definitely has enough, or a good amount of units right now. I think it's really going to depend on how the engagement goes. There's no Banelings out. The Baneling nest is only, well, it's 10 seconds away from finishing, so there won't be any Banelings out for this attack if ThorZaIN goes right away, and 1-1 is also only halfway down, so nothing there. I don't believe there's any infestors out either, so this could be actually really hard.
Okay, but yeah, he's going to elevate her up. He's going to leave these Hellions on the low ground right here, and this is actually going to be a very effective tactic. Lowely was relying a lot on those spine crawlers on the low ground. He's going to start moving some of those up, but nice job with the Hellions on the low ground. Going to be able to clean up a lot of those Zerglings, and yeah, he's going to kill absolutely everything in here. That spine crawler is going to be killed. He's going to have to load up right here to get away from these Banelings, but nice target fire. Only ends up losing a couple of Marines there. Now that he's on the low ground again, he's going to be able to easily pressure through the spine crawlers there on the low ground, knowing that the Banelings are not there. But ThorZaIN instead going to choose to retreat, knowing that he's done a lot of damage to his opponent, forced out a lot of Lings, killed a couple of Queens, killed a couple of spine crawlers. He's going to just be content to bring back the army, get a couple more of medevacs, and wait for his 1-1 to hit before he tries this again.
Yeah, the trouble there is that 1-1 is done for Zerg, so if he does go too early, these Zerglings will just be, so strong. They'll take forever to kill and they'll do extra damage, so, ThorZaIN does not want to hit before his 1-1 is done. If he does that, he's in a bad position.
Yeah, and the very crucial thing here is that he's kept Zerg only on 2 bases right now. Knowing that he's already on 2 bases back at home and even starting his own 3rd command center inside of his main, he's very comfortable in the position that he's at right now. Infestors are out on the map now for Lowely, with Burrow being upgraded and 2-2 as well, but Ling Infestor with this amount of Infestors should be able to deter this small bio push if ThorZaIN tries to poke up this ramp right here, which he's going to see the Infestors and he's going to very wisely back off until he has more units in his composition, and more importantly until he has some tanks in his composition.
Yeah, Infestors are very good versus this composition, just mostly bio and then a couple of Hellions. All those units are small and they all take damage from fungal, so definitely does not want to engage into that. 2-2 is about a third done for Zerg, and it's only just starting for ThorZaIN, so he's a little bit behind there, but not a big deal. And like you said, man, no tanks have been started yet. Like, this is weird. It kind of makes me think of what Polt does, that a lot of bio. Yeah, actually, there's 3 more barracks, so definitely going for that. He's finally started a tech lab on his factory, so going to start getting some tanks soon. But, they're going to take a little while. He's also gotten his 3rd base done. It hasn't morphed it into a orbital yet, but the command center is done at this point before the hatch.
Yeah, and he's making use of these Marines over here to clean up the one Overlord that is pooping creep down onto his 3rd, but it's going to take a full minute for that creep to recede before he's able to get in there. But no, look at this beautiful job with that small contingent of bio going to make their way up there and do snipe an Infestor, and another fungal going to be going down right here, leaving him only with 2 fungals left right now, as the Marines and Marauders do continually put pressure onto this 3rd base.
Yeah, this is pretty much exactly what Polt does. A lot of bio with medevacs, and then you just out-micro your opponent. This is really cool to see from someone other than him. I know this replay is 2 or 3 weeks old now, but I didn't realize ThorZaIN was experimenting with this. To this point, I thought really the only people who bothered to do this were Marine King and Bolt, because they have the best micro. A lot of lings on the way, and 2-2's about to finish for Zerg, so that could be big trouble for ThorZaIN if he's overextending.
Yeah, he could be overextending just a little bit here, but he doesn't have a whole lot of units on the field. Right now, he's in a 30 supply advantage when compared with his opponent, and Zerg's actually just going to give up this base right now, knowing that he's incapable of defending it for the time being, opting instead to send some of these lings out to go for a counter at his opponent's third, and ThorZaIN very wisely going to retreat very quickly across the map here, leaving just a couple of Marines to take out this hatchery. But the Link's going to make their way into the third base right now, and the liftoff there does end up canceling the morph into a... Did you see if that was orbital or a planetary
Yeah, it was
focus?
an orbital.
Okay.
He only lost minerals when he canceled it, so orbital.
Okay.
Or only got back minerals, sorry.
And nice job from Lowely here. He does manage to sneak a burrowed ling under that orbital during all that aggression. And that does force out a scan. A little bit of a misstep here as ThorZaIN did have his depot wall up a little bit too much, so 6 of those SUVs trapped in the main for the time being. But right now, ThorZaIN still on a 20 supply advantage, going to be even with his opponent in upgrades, only about 15 seconds disparity in these upgrades, and starting siege tank production with Terran vehicle weapons right now. I'd say that ThorZaIN's in a pretty comfortable spot right now.
Yeah, and I'm kind of confused here from Lowely. He started 3-3, but he hasn't made a third hatchery. You really either start 3-3 and get the third hatch, or you don't bother with upgrades, you just all in. Looks like he's starting to hatch now. He did have the money earlier, so I think that's a little bit of a mistake there. And we also see ThorZaIN with this huge-ass army is moving out. So many medevacs here. 9 medevacs.
And once again, it's important to note that all the reinforcements right now are stuck behind the supply depot wall. There we go. Finally, the supply depots do come down, but that was a little bit unfortunate. If something had happened there, he would have been missing out about 30 supply of his army.
Yeah, that's a lot of stuff. I love this positioning of the third with this bunker behind depots. We see Terrans do this more often now, where they'll just have one bunker, even with like 2 Marines in it, and they'll kill Infinity Zerglings if they aren't microed.
Yeah,
because a lot of the time during a fight, a Zerg will just send a bunch of lings to the third and forget about it. If that happens, you just lose all of them for free.
Definitely, and so ThorZaIN continuing to put pressure on this third once again. It's now 17 minutes into the game, and the mining on this third has been extremely minimal. ThorZaIN might even just try to poke his way up. A beautiful fungal is catching a ton of Marines and Marauders right there, and chain fungals those units down. A lot of medevacs there are going to be able to heal up a ton of those units, but nice splitting coming in. But there's no banelings in this composition, only Zerglings and Infestors right here. And the Zerglings are going to be cleaned up. The only stuff left is 2 Spine Crawlers, a few Queens, and these Infestors. But the medevacs are completely out of energy at this point. And the Marines and Marauders are going to try to force their way up, but there's still a few fungals left. And I don't know if ThorZaIN's going to be able to continue this push, but reinforcements continually streaming across the map, and Lowely simply does not have the larva at this point to continue his production and cleaning up the small contingent of bio once again, but a siege tank now sieged up in the back, going to provide supporting fire and the essential splash damage to deal with this Zergling composition.
Yeah, I actually really love this strategy here by ThorZaIN. You know, he's taking advantage of the fact that bio units are the best units in low numbers. You can't deny that bio units are just the best if you have, you know, under 100 supply. It's impossible. Like, he waited until 1730, I think it was, before Siege was finished, and he's only got 1 tank right now. But he's been denying this third so much that it's okay, and this counterattack of the third is going to do nothing.
Yeah, just like you talked about, sending 25 lings, 30 lings to the other side of the map to the third, and completely wasted right there. Tries to get some damage done, but not going to happen. He does force the cancel on the Planetary Fortress morphing over here at the fourth, and he's going to clean up a missile turret and a sensor tower. But Lowely is only on 2 base right now. The main is completely mined out at this point, and he's only on 1 base, essentially. 1 base mining. He does not have the tech, he does not have the units, he does not have the income to deal with the production of ThorZaIN, mining off of 2 bases, and going to be starting to mine off his 3rd base relatively soon here.
Yeah, Lowely here has decided that his best chance is to go for Greater Spire. I kind of disagree. I think his best chance is to leave the game and go to Game 3. But yeah, he's going to try to get enough Broodlords, because he does have a few Infestors still. He's actually got 12 Infestors, so never mind. Disregard what I said. He's got 12 Infestors, so he's thinking, if I can get like 7 Broodlords out, or 6 or 7, then I can pick away at this army long enough, and I can keep those broodlords alive with these infestors. I think it's really his only chance at this point. I agree with him.
Yeah, and possibly the one saving grace here from Lowely is that he does have a relatively high infestor count. At 12 right now, a lot of those infestors on pretty high energy, but those infestors need support. They are supporting units. They need some kind of primary attacking units in the form of roaches, in the form of ultras, in the form of zerglings, mostly zerglings and roaches there, to really provide that fodder so that the infestors can get in and get out and do their job without being harassed. And right now we do see the 3 queens trying to hold off the small amount of units pushing their way up here, and finally the broodlord's going to make their way in and tell the bio to get the hell out of there. Back at home, we did see a little bit of burrowed infestor harassment coming in from Lowely, as infested Terrans over here at the 3rd do get quite a few kills.
Yeah, he actually takes out that turret as well, so if he had any infestors left, well, he's still got one. He can go back in, it's going to be a little easier to harass, but it looks like he lost some of those, which, I mean, killing economy for units at this point really isn't worth it for Lowely. If you can kill units for units or economy for free, that's both good, but trading, not so much, especially if you're trading your units for not his units. We see at the 4th of ThorZaIN here, there's a planetary that's already done. No gas taken, but he doesn't really need it, as he is going, bio-heavy, and that is a mineral-heavy composition. Very few tanks. In fact, only 2 right now. He's made a 3rd, so still very low. Most of his gas is in air units, so 8 Vikings and 8 medevacs.
Definitely, and he is, like you said, starting that Viking production, knowing that his opponent is on broodlords, and he's got the economy to do so. He's got the economy to produce as many Vikings as he needs, although I believe I only saw 1 starport active right now. Yeah, we do see more starports coming in. That tech lab, once again, going to be coming in, so we do see a Corvid reactor probably starting pretty soon here, but hasn't quite started. But working with 3 reactored starports, he's going to be able to pump so many Vikings.
Yeah, we saw a couple fungals from Lowely here going onto the air units of ThorZaIN. That's definitely going to help him a little bit, but not the biggest deal. It's mostly just kind of picking away at them. He's actually killed, he's killed 5 Vikings now, so that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah,
still no gas there.
Lowely demonstrating some pretty superior infestor control here. There's only so much you can do, unless you're cats. Cats could probably win this game with nothing but infestors, but there's only so much you can do when you're on pure infestor and a couple of broodlords right now, with his opponent being on 4 bases and Lowely just finally getting that 3rd base up. It's a pretty bad situation, and with all these broodlords right now, we do see the Ghost Academy coming up, something that's very rarely seen in ZVT these days, just because Ghosts have been nerfed a few times. Snipe, not so effective anymore, but Snipe is actually very good against infestors, as is EMP in these high infestor compositions. So with that Mobius reactor being started right here, the transition to Ghosts is underway, but it simply doesn't look like there's going to be even a necessity for those Ghosts, as the Bio, Tank, and Viking composition is making their way into the 3rd once again.
Yeah, like you said, the Ghost, it's very ThorZaIN-esque. He used to be the Ghost guy. Every single composition he would go mass Ghost, and those nerfs really stopped him from doing that, but we still see him try it sometimes. And it is really good versus these infestor compositions, because EMP, you get 1 good EMP off, that's like 5 infestors without energy. That's like GG, man, and we still see Vikings here killing broodlords. This is rough. There's a bit of a link counterattack in the bottom left, but it's kind of just picking off a few reinforcements at a time. They're going to fight these marauders, and they'll probably win, but they're going to start getting cleaned up soon if any real amount of units comes and fights them.
Yeah, definitely, and so we'll see if those Ghosts do make their way up to the battlefield right now, as there are 3 in production at a time, but Viking's going to be coming in here, cleaning up the last of the Corruptors and the last of the Broodlords. Good Fungal's going to be going down once again, but good splitting from ThorZaIN. He's going to be able to clean up all those air units. Lowely dropping below 100 supply at this point. He's in a rough situation. I commend the guy for wanting to stick in the game. He doesn't want to give up, knowing that this is a very important game for him. But you got to wonder, when is it time to cut your losses and say it's time to move on to game 3 and give it another shot there?
Yeah, I think it's now. He's losing infestors now. He's not got any other units that he's gonna be able to fight with. So losing infestors at this point, he's making 5 more because he only has gas to spend. As he's back to 1 base mineral economy. But ThorZaIN's on 3 base mineral, or no, 2 base mineral economy. He should definitely be taking more bases right now. He's also got a little bit of gas in his fourth. And, you know, this army is just huge. The ghosts have now come in, and they're going to start sniping infestors. I don't know, man. This is looking pretty grave for Lowely.
Yeah, like you said, Snipe's going down onto these infestors right here as they're going to start racking up kills. The infestor count dwindling right now to just down to 12. A huge EMP goes down. There's not enough energy for a single spell left on these infestors. And that's going to be ThorZaIN's cue to rush that ramp, knowing that all the fungals are gone. That third goes down, and Lowely GG's out of the game. ThorZaIN evening up the series now at 1-1. We're going to game 3.
Yeah, definitely excited. I love this. Like, this made Poltz is my favorite Terran. I didn't like him when he first won, but since then he's become like a macro Terran who just micros really, really, really well. So now he's probably my favorite Terran. And this is the thing that he does, like a lot of bio and a lot of pressure, and he just keeps it up. You see him win games on Antigua so much just because he doesn't stop attacking ever, and Zerg can't deal with that. So I love to see other players doing this.
Yeah, very cool style coming out of ThorZaIN, and Lowely maybe being a little bit too comfortable there on 2 bases, never quite able to take that third comfortably, and that really came back to bite him in the ass. So
Yeah.
we're moving on to game 3 in this series, see who's going to be able to take it on and move into upper bracket round 2. I've been your casting host, Beef. Check me out on youtube.com/BeefPotPie1 and Twitter @BeefPotPie1. Brandon, where can they find you?
Well, I likewise have a YouTube channel and a Twitter, so you can check out youtube.com/MuatarnTV. It's MUATARAN, and you can also check me out on Twitter @Muatarn. It's the same spelling.
All right, guys, we're going to move on to game 3 now. Hope to see you there. Thanks.